The containment field flickered red as another plasma surge hammered against the shield. Anna's antennae twitched violently, her 6 eyes darting between the failing systems and the human standing calmly beside her. "We have 17 minutes, she chittered, her translator rendering her panic into sterile words. 17 minutes before this station tears itself apart and you're just standing there? Leo checked his datapad with the casual interest of someone reviewing a grocery list. 16 minutes and 43 seconds, actually. Your chronometer's running slow. Anna's mandibles clicked in frustration. The Zephron had been studying humanity for 3 cycles now, ever since they'd joined the Galactic Council. They were strange, these pink-skinned bipeds, soft, fragile, lacking any natural weapons or armor. They couldn't breathe methane like the Krell, couldn't survive in vacuum like the stellar chorus, couldn't even see an infrared. By all accounts, they should have been classified as a prey species. Yet here was Leo, their designated engineer aboard the research station, acting as if the imminent catastrophic failure of the quantum reactor was nothing more than a minor inconvenience. "How are you not afraid?" Anna demanded, her voice rising to a frequency that made the translator squeal. "Your species doesn't even have a backup nervous system. When you die, you just stop." Leo looked up from his datapad, his face bearing that peculiar expression humans called a smile. It still unnerved Anna, the baring of bone-white teeth that in any sensible species would signal aggression. "Want to know a secret?" Leo asked, already moving toward the reactor chamber. "Fear isn't about absence. It's about proportion." Anna scuttled after him on her 6 legs, her exoskeleton clicking against the metal floor. "That makes no sense. The danger is absolute. We are going to die." "Maybe," Leo said, pulling open an access panel that Anna's people had deemed too damaged to approach. Radiation warnings flashed angry red across his visor. "Probably not, though. The core is destabilizing." Anna's translator struggled with her increasingly high-pitched distress calls. 3 redundant safety systems have failed. The containment field is at 18%. "The mathematics are simple." "Math," Leo interrupted, his hands already deep in the sparking circuits. "Doesn't account for stubbornness." He pulled out a fused relay, the component still glowing with excess heat. Anna watched in horror as he examined it with his bare eyes, turning it over casually. Any other species would have recoiled from the radiation signature. But humans had learned to coexist with dangers that would paralyze other races. "You see," Leo continued, his voice steady as he rerouted power through a secondary system that Anna hadn't even known existed. "My species spent 300,000 years as prey. We were slow, weak, without claws or venom or armor. Everything wanted to eat us. Then how? Because we learned that fear is just information." Leo's hands moved with practiced precision, connecting circuits that weren't meant to interface. Saber-toothed cat in the bushes? That's data. Fire spreading through the grassland. Data reactor going critical. Just more data. The station shuddered and Anna's legs nearly buckled. "That's insane. Fear exists to keep you alive." "No," Leo corrected, finally pulling his hands free and initiating a diagnostic sequence. "Fear exists to make you choose. Fight or flight. Risk or safety. Do the impossible or die trying." Anna watched the readouts in disbelief. The reactor temperature was dropping, not quickly but measurably. "What did you do?" "Bypassed the primary coolant system, rerouted power through the cargo bay's environmental controls, and turned the entire West Wing into a giant heat sink." Leo wiped his hands on his uniform, leaving grease stains that would probably violate a dozen safety regulations. "It'll hold for about 6 hours. Plenty of time for the repair crew to arrive. But the protocol said that configuration was impossible. The system architecture doesn't allow under normal operation," Leo agreed. "But humans didn't get where we are by following the rules when the rules would get us killed." Anna felt her respiratory spiracles constrict, the Zephron equivalent of breathlessness. "You simply ignored the limitations?" "Not ignored. Acknowledged and worked around." Leo closed the access panel, the alarm klaxons finally falling silent one by one. "See, here's what you need to understand about humans. We're not brave because we don't feel fear. We're brave because we feel it completely, and then we do the thing anyway." The containment field stabilized at 42%. Not perfect, but sustainable. Safe. Every human alive is descended from ancestors who looked at the impossible and said, "Not good enough," Leo continued. We hunted animals that could kill us with a single bite. We sailed across oceans without knowing what was on the other side. We split the atom, walked on our moon, and built stations like this one in the void of space, all while being afraid. Always afraid? Anna's antennae drooped in a gesture of dawning comprehension. So fear doesn't control you. Fear informs us, Leo corrected gently. Big difference. It tells us the stakes, shows us the danger, quantifies the risk, but it doesn't make our decisions. We do that part ourselves. The Zephron researcher looked at the stabilized systems, then back at the human. Her species had ruled their homeworld through superior intellect and careful risk assessment. They had joined the Galactic Council through diplomacy and calculated negotiation. They had built an empire on certainty, but humans, these strange, soft, fragile humans, had built theirs on the willingness to fail. The other species, Anna said slowly, they don't understand this about your kind. No, Leo agreed. They think we're reckless. They think we're lucky. They think we're too stupid to know when we should quit. But you're not. No, Leo said, that terrifying smile returning. We just know that the universe doesn't give you permission to survive. You have to take it. Anna's respiratory spiracles still felt tight, her 3 hearts beating in an unsyncopated rhythm that signaled deep emotional processing. She had asked why he wasn't afraid, expecting bravado or ignorance. Instead, she'd learned something far more unsettling. Humans weren't fearless. They were something far more dangerous. They were fear's master, not its slave. The repair crew arrived 5 hours and 37 minutes later, praising the miraculous stability of a system that should have failed. Anna said nothing, simply watched Leo file his incident report with the same casual demeanor he'd shown facing death. She finally understood why the Galactic Council had been so eager to welcome humanity. Not because they were strong or smart or particularly advanced, but because when the impossible needed to become possible, you wanted a human in the room, someone who would look at fear, acknowledge it, and then politely tell it to wait while they got to work.